Alright, so finally playing a game as white here. This is a 10-5. I was able to get a match. The last two I didn't play 10 with delay because there weren't enough people playing, I guess, to accept it. Okay, so this is a Pirc. So I'm going to play possibly an Austrian if he plays c5, but I think he's probably just going to castle. Austrian attack would be here, then you check, and it gets really complicated. And then you play d5, e5. So I got into some trouble playing a variation like this recently. So I want to develop my bishop. I didn't like my bishop where it was in that game. It really doesn't make sense on this diagonal. So I'm just going to go here. I don't know if it's right. That game was a 10-0. All right, he's going to put some pressure on that pawn. I think I can push it after he plays bishop b7. Just to try to open up some stuff here. I've protected this with bishop, which wins, doesn't quite win a piece. It's close to it. He can only play c6. It's not where his knight wants to be. I can try to develop or at least put some pressure on it somehow. Idea similar to the Austrian, I could do this, get the knight up to g5. If I play this and he takes and I play knight g5, how does he defend this square? The only way I see to defend against the fork on the queen and rook is rook up here. And if he plays rook up there, take here, push. I could also just play knight up here first, threatening to push the pawn. Maybe that's a little better. I don't really know. I've got delay, so I've got time to think about it. It seems a little bit critical here. Takes. I can just keep the tension. I think I'm okay with that. He doesn't have enough to win this pawn right now, so maybe just develop. I don't know if that's the right square for my bishop. This could be a weakness if a lot of things move. But my plan is probably maybe just go slow and go here. Now he's put some pressure there. I can let him take, and then this pawn will drop. So maybe taking here first. Giving up the center. He's got some good compensation. I think I have to take here. There's just too much pressure on that pawn. Takes back with that. I could try to lock him in, his bishop in. He is able to get some multiple pieces on this. After this, I don't know if he gets anything else. And then maybe I have this intermezzo move. Let me try to keep the bishop out. I'm realizing now he could take my piece, I take back, and then he wins the pawn. Yeah, I don't think this was a good spot for this knight, my bishop. But I could just slide back. Maybe swing here on a good day. Takes, knight comes in. This is able to be defended by the pawn, but then this becomes weak. If he does any of that, I think I can just slide up and then still threaten to play f5. This is a threat because he's going to hit the knight. Yeah, I struggle to find a good square for this bishop in this opening. I think it might be best to just get rid of the bishop. Maybe I do this and then slide the rook over. I could also just slide the rook over now. He is struggling to develop this guy, which makes this a little bit tough to defend, because if the rook is on this file, he has to move here or here because the rook is unprotected. He can't trade. I've got too many things covering that square. This pawn is not threatened yet. Rook here or bishop here, those are my two candidate moves. I also have this threat, but I have to worry about this first. So maybe I slide the rook over. Yeah, keep this square open in case I want the knight to come in, but like you may have noticed, I've given him this diagonal now over the last few moves. I'll go here. Alright, I'll go here first. Takes, takes, this is defended twice. I don't think he's going to give up that diagonal. Yeah, I've got this threat now. How does he deal with that? I'm also hitting this. I'm going to try this. I'm not worried about this pawn dropping. If he comes here, my intermezzo wins material after the fork on c7. If he takes here, I'm threatening this still. If the queen moves at all, this falls, which wins a key piece. I could just consider, I got 2 pawns under attack. Really uncoordinated. I could defend both with a move like this. Not a huge fan of that. I mean, yeah, because then I drop this. What if I slide here and then this rook slides over after he takes? I don't know. I don't know which pawns I want to keep. Huh, this is a tricky one. I could also do something like this. If he takes, slide back. There are no checks. No, there is one check. I don't like any of my moves. This bishop moves, this knight is under attack. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this game. Let's see, takes. If he takes anywhere, I've got this. He takes here. Yeah, I don't like this game. Can't think of anything good. Maybe I just slide up. He wins this pawn. I slide over. If he wins that pawn too, I'm down 2 pawns. Is it worth it? I'll get this one. Why am I holding on to this one so much? Is it the right pawn? I have to hold on to this because I've got the one thing going is a space pawn, space advantage. I want to keep these guys at bay. All 3 of these pieces are not good. I'm going to go here. This also covers this square. If he takes here, I slide over. I'm covering this. I want to defend the knight. The knight can't easily be attacked. I've got more activity than him, but I'm giving up a pawn, which is fine. This pawn is the only one hanging, so if he does nothing, I could do this, which also limits that knight. I can also now do this to double defend this. He can't go here now to attack this square, so that's nice for me. I was more confident in my games as black than I am in these ones. I am threatening this now. It's a little difficult for him to defend that pawn now. The knight does a good job defending these squares, this pawn. It's hard for him to defend this pawn. I think very hard. Which is why I'm okay with giving up the 2 pawns over here for this key central pawn. Okay, does that drop this pawn? Now he can drop back here. The knight is even worse there than it was before, but it kind of needed to move. So let's get my bishop doing something. If he goes here, I'm going here, and the same idea. I'm forcing his pieces to squares they don't want to be, and then this becomes weak. Actually, I have a tactic here. If he goes there, take, knight takes, bishop takes, as long as his queen is not here. I just realized that he kind of has to come here. The queen is trapped. He can go here or here, these 2 squares. He could also push and then he gets this square. I don't think he's going to do that. So these 2 comes here. I should calculate this first. Rook slides over. It doesn't have to slide over, honestly. I could let him now take the rook. Yeah, both queens for the rook. I don't like the weakness that puts here, because I could also do this first. Queen takes, bishop takes, I take his rook. So maybe I just do this first. When the knight moves, this square becomes available for his bishop. So I think I have to do this first. I'm still winning that pawn. This is still covered. The bishop was already defended, or knight was already defended. I think I'm coming here with this tactic, but if he goes there, that blocks it. I have to at least do this. This square is now safe. He could come here now with his queen. I didn't see that until right now. But then that drops this knight. I am hitting his rook right now. A threat here opens up possible checkmates. I've given up 2 pawns that don't matter right now for I created a pass pawn too for a central pawn. I've gotten his weakest pawn, but now these, if we go into an endgame, will be an issue. So I don't want to trade too much. I also have this threat if he does something like this. Queen is pretty close to being trapped. He has this square, this square. That drops a piece. That drops a couple of things. I think I can just take. I think I can take the rook, and then I'm hitting the knight. That seems bad. Did I miss something? He has this threat hitting this. I think I'm okay. Take the rook. I'm here. My rook is defended 3 times. That's pretty cool. I'm also hitting this, which is a key piece in this game. All right, so he is now sacrificing. He's trying to get activity for his... I could also come here. I don't want him to have that bishop anymore. So the question is, do I have enough time to get what I want in? Where's this knight able to go to if I push this pawn? All right, he's going to start to get some activity here. I want to trade as many things as I can. Let's start with this. I'm up a piece. This bishop's not doing anything right now. His knight's going to come into play soon. How do I activate my pieces? I think maybe this is a good square for my bishop because it can come here. I have to worry about this too. It's difficult to see the best way forward. I don't want to give up a 3rd pawn, but I also don't want to block my bishop in. It does make it difficult for him to get these pawns going if this pawn is here, but he already has a passed pawn. So I've got to tread carefully. If this bishop comes here, I lose this. I can then slide up. Maybe this is kind of a weakness. I want activity, so I can't give up that 3rd pawn. That's nuts. Why would I want to do that? Let's start with this. If he comes here, I can hit his bishop. Yeah, this is the move I'm not sure. His knight goes here. I have an intermezzo now where I can start to trade some pieces. He's not fully active. I need my rooks to do something. And pushing this does weaken that pawn, by the way. Okay, so he's hitting this. Now he's hitting it again. That's a key piece I don't want to lose again. I wish I could get some sort of tactic here, but I can't defend that square. Yeah, if I do that... I don't like that move. but what else do I have? I've got to do it anyway. I don't like this move. He comes here, I can slide up. He's got this square now. If I can prevent this pawn from moving by taking that one, because then his pawn gets here, I can always slide back. He doesn't have the dark squared bishop to control anything here anymore. I think I have to go here if he goes there. It's difficult to say what's happening here. I've got tactics here now, maybe. If he comes up, I'm okay with him taking the bishop. Yeah, he comes right back here, that makes sense. Let me try to hit his bishop. Maybe there's a better square for it. I want to trade some stuff. Running out of time, too. Let me hit his bishop. I don't know if it's right. I have to watch this square. There's a fork now. I don't know how to get my pieces involved. I'm trying to prevent things. I'm trying to trade. This knight is just in my way. I'm sorry, bishop's just in my way. If I move it now, I'm getting rid of that square, so let's move over. Give him... Damn, this is tough. Alright, I have to defend this square, I think. If he comes here, I can slide up here. Or maybe I just slide over. He's not going to go there. He doesn't want to get in the way of his passed pawn. I'm trying to get this bishop involved. That's why I moved there. And defend this square and get this going. Alright, let's do this. Come back. Now I can swing in here with the bishop gone. He's removed a defender. Not a defender. Yeah, a defender of the pawn. I've got some ideas. Finally. Yep, that looks good. Where do I go? Here. Looks okay. Check is covered by the bishop. I like that he covered up his passed pawn. My goal is, I've controlled this to get this in, to try to hit this here. Get him to trade that annoying knight. It's just blocking me from whatever. At the same time, this helps prevent the pawn push, but his own bishop blocks it in too. Got to move a little quicker. This looks okay to come here. I'm trying to get this square with my bishop to give it some nice squares. If he pushes the pawn, I've got to be very careful if I jump in here. I think I have to do this just to defend a lot of different things. He's hitting this. Maybe I come here, depending on where his knight goes, or his king goes. Yeah, because then I'm threatening a fork. I want to defend this pawn, possibly come here. Ooh, this is hard. Okay, let's go here first. His knight coming in is not ideal, but he can't come here right now. I win this knight. I've got more going on. I want to reposition this knight here, maybe here. My rook is defended. This square is pretty well defended. I think this looks good, followed by a check. No, not a check, that knight's there. I've got at least like perpetual. I can move back and forth a little bit to save some time. I may have to draw because I don't have time, but 1 minute with delay could be okay. I am up material. I need to keep this square covered. I have intermezzo ideas, hitting this if he ever moves his knight, which is why it's a good idea for me to come here, but I wanted to defend this. I may want to play g3 to give myself some time. also prevent any thoughts of back ranks. I know it's not likely, but that drops this pawn. Let me just take it. I don't have time. And if he comes here, like I said, slide intermezzo. All right, let's get rid of the threats. I don't have to move this bishop ever. I've got a check now, possibly winning this pawn right away. If he does do this move, okay, I've got check, check, and then I hit his bishop, winning this pawn. I think the threat is removed of the, I'm not worried about this pawn anymore if he trades, because at the end of the day I win this pawn. There is no back rank. Where does this bishop go? I don't know yet. Check. If the king moves, I slide over right away. Or try to trade. I like this better. Moving out of the way. This is well defended. Because of the intermezzo here, he can't take now. I'm hitting his bishop anyway. So it gives me time to get... I don't know if I like g3 now. It makes sense, but I don't like it. If he ever pushes, I may have check, allowing me to jump into this square. So I'm not as worried about f5. So once his bishop moves, I think g3 makes sense. Okay. It's a tough move to play for a couple of reasons. I do want to hit this. I just realized I did want to take that pawn. Yeah. Ugh. Ooh. Okay. This is scary looking. I have to just slide back. I have to defend this. I need to keep hitting this. I'm now able to take this pawn. Yeah, that's a reason why I didn't like g3. But in the moment, kind of had to play it. Knight takes helps simplify things. Okay. Whoa. Takes, now it just takes if he checks. Oh, I can't move it. There's like mate ideas now. Takes, check, bishop comes back, slides up. This looks bad. Check, bishop has to slide down. It's the only way. If he checks here, oh, this is not good. There's going to be discovers. I'm going to be able to take this though. I shouldn't have opened up this diagonal, yeah. The only double check is here, otherwise I can just take. And then I'm hitting this bishop too. That is not mate. There is no mate. Okay, I'm hitting this, and this should be good now. That is close to mate. I only had one square if I couldn't take the bishop. But I feel safe now. This may get up to 2,300 if I win. It's not over yet. Don't say it's over. I've been burned too many times by thinking I win, but I am up 2 pieces. So, 3. How did I get up so many pieces? Would I have a full rook that whole game? I don't think I should have been as scared if I was up a full rook. That pawn never really moved very far. Alright, I don't see anything else right now. Yeah, he's got the fork. I never even saw the fork. But I should be okay to just take. Let's just take here. I don't think it matters. I also had a check here to win that piece and not give up material. I didn't have to give that back. But I just saw it just now. So I could have checked and won the knight. I am still threatened in a fork, no matter what, which gives me a chance to do this move if he tries to save this knight. But where's that knight going to go? Alright, well, neutralize the passed pawns. Time is pretty even. I don't see any checks for him. This bishop does a good job defending. I'm going to move this out of the way. Yeah, I'm up too many things to really be worried right now. That does give him this square, I just realized that. But my whole point was to try to create this passed pawn. This does a good job controlling this from double attacks on the bishop, but the bishop's not pinned anyway. I can just freely start pushing. This is well covered. I have this plan to come in here and then just push the pawn. Yeah, I would say g3 was a mistake overall. This covers all the squares I need to. If he exchanges, like this just looks good for me. I can't push yet, but I can do the plan I said. Knight's defended if he doesn't take the rook. Let's just slide up. I'll do this now. This covers my weaknesses. And we can start to push. I also have this now, I just saw. I couldn't do it right away before, but I need to help exchange pieces off. I'm okay with giving up the pawn, or the piece, but why do it? I'll start with this. Defend the knight and start to push. I also have a threat of checkmate pretty quick if I... yeah, let's do this first, check. If he pushes the pawn, I just push here. Yeah, I didn't mean to pre-move that, but if he takes here, I check. And then, yeah, I think check. I can threaten mate pretty quick. I'm going to give up. Yeah, this knight is indirectly defended. My thought originally was this and threaten back rank, but yeah. Okay, yeah, almost 2,300. That was a roller coaster of a game. Let's see what I did wrong. I definitely did not like my opening. Knight f3, usually I play f4. It's a little aggressive. It is the Austrian attack. I thought it had to be c5 for Austrian. So knight f3, castles, bishop d3. Yeah, bishop d3 is the main move. Bishop e2 is just passive. I didn't know what to do with my bishop. c4 I don't like for tactic reasons. Kind of like, you know, if you take, maybe it's okay, but that's just a common thing to watch out for. Castles, bishop b7. Did I have to push? Yeah, either I push or I play bishop d3, which I should have played anyway. That's why bishop d3 makes sense. You don't have to push. e6 is a line. I didn't see how to counter rook f6. Knight c, e4, I'm seeing now. If he takes, what happens? He comes back. Draw? I don't know. Maybe I do this. Nobody's played it, so I'm not sure. c5 is thematic. I don't know why I didn't really watch out for it, but bishop e3 makes the most sense. c5, queen d2 is recommended, but e takes is also popular. Now from here, d5, shut things down a little bit. I went for activity over anything. There's no games now at this point. What else can I do? I could slide up. My queen has to move up anyway. Maybe queen... No, this creates issues because of this idea. And now if I move it, he has this, which wins the piece. So there's too much pressure here. I do have to move the bishop out of the way. Rook here, or I was thinking this move. He's not really going to take here, but I'm not really threatening anything. I kind of like where my knight ended up there. But he does this. Knight up, anything better? I don't know. I don't like this. I could do this right away. Maybe this right away. Because the whole threat is to come here and come here. So I think that bishop move makes sense first. Because if he checks... Oh no, he does take the pawn. And I come back, he checks. So let's see. Takes, I think comes here. But then where does he go? How does he defend this? Knight now has a square. I don't know. There's just a lot going on. That seems good for white. I don't think the knight can move. Does he do something like that to defend it? I think this, he has to defend that way. And I'm always getting this back, and now this is a threat. I don't think he wants to give up the dark squares. I don't know about all that. But I think bishop a4, h4 makes some sense. I don't think this move makes any sense because the knight isn't going anywhere. He didn't do anything until the end of the game. Instead, he could... It's kind of tough for him to move. If he goes here, it's kind of like what happened in the game. I don't think what he did in the game makes sense when he did that. So he definitely blundered here. It's a little tricky. I am curious what the best move would be besides that. So I saw tactics of this. Probably the best move. It's not where his knight wants to be, or rook wants to be. His queen struggles to defend that knight. Maybe I do this. These bishops can do a lot of good defending this. Threatening to come in here. Threatening to come here. And even potentially, if I can get a bishop here, I can hit both the queen and f7. So taking here looks bad. I think rook takes makes the most sense. If he did take back, the knight was hanging, so he gets a piece involved. I thought he was just going to start moving, but he didn't. That bishop's pretty pivotal to helping promote the pawn. This, I'm not sure what's best. Could do something like this. He goes here. This pawn, no, knight's hanging. If he goes here, he's now got two passed pawns, which can be difficult to move still. And I'm up a full rook, I really am. I thought I was only up an exchange. So I think I panicked a little more than I needed to. But there's nothing wrong with being safe. Where else can he go? He can't go there. Coming back here is no good. Because like I said, I'll come here. So yeah, just gotta... I'm forced into keeping my bishop, you know, behind squares. So I struggled a little bit to find spots for him. I think what I did made sense. Tempo. I toyed around with this idea, but I had to defend this square first. And then I get it in. He moves, again, blocking his bishop, or his passed pawn. This makes sense, because everything is concentrated around this square. I think that's a key square for me. So him pushing didn't do anything, because I honestly was thinking about maybe bringing my knight here anyway. And that's why I brought it up. I think these pieces are better. Knight here, bishop on this diagonal, rather than stuck behind this pawn. Check helps prevent things because he can't do things like this easily because I've got this square now for the knight. So his king kind of has to go to a non-checkable square, protect my pawn. This is just bad because he's dropping this pawn. That's kind of why I wanted this knight, this rook here. It does the same thing as this rook, blocking the pawns from coming forward. So this looked good. When he came here, my rook, I checked first. Is there anything better? I could just slide here first. I think my bishop's a little weird here. Move over. Yeah, I played g3 kind of quick. I had about a minute left. I could take here. I just create too many weaknesses. I shouldn't have even worried about this pawn for the reasons I've said before, like this pawn's dropping. So maybe just take here. Probably with this rook, so I can trade his rook off. Looks a lot better. Take. If I come up, Coming up's probably better. It gives me a square out if needed. But this bishop struggles to do anything now. Alright, I anticipated the check. I did not see the windmill technique after the check. Well, I didn't anticipate the knight check. That's what I missed from here. I saw it's almost mate because the king's basically back ranked. Has to come here. I thought maybe there was a way he could get another attacker on the... I'm not sure how, actually. But the check just opens the windmill, and that's why g3 is not very good. But since I am attacking the attacker, that's what led to me winning. So I felt safe because I'm just threatening his pieces. I'm hitting both of these. Check, but then, again, I'm not because of that. Check. Like I said, the only double check is here, and I come here. And then threat is over. Oh, this could be mate. No, it's not. All right, let's see what the engine says. That was lots of tactics. I won't be surprised if I had a couple blunders in there. Okay, one blunder. He had 3. So let's see the best opening stuff. It's an opening e2. All right, bishop e2. I shouldn't play. Just play traditional bishop d3. I was burned by a game. I got smothered by, not smothered, but definitely crushed. Okay, now yeah, this is a theme. If I play it now, he takes. Yeah, that's helping me. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And if he comes here, knight up. Oh, the bishop actually gets some life. Can't take here, so I can win this if I want. Yeah, it doesn't like that. Just here. If he moves. Okay, yeah. Then I'm hitting this again. Okay. Lots of tactics. Focus on that e6 next time. Even if it's a pawn sacrifice, like, it looks pretty good. Alright. It liked queen d2. It didn't like the rook move. It actually liked the queen up at this point. Which, to me, makes no sense. It doesn't drop a piece for some reason. Let's see. Oh. Check. Interesting. Good to see. Good to know that. Yeah, bishop h4. I did recommend that move in the analysis. But not for the same reasons. Comes up. Yeah, check. If he checks, he's got to worry about this stuff. Defend this. What? Okay, this is some next level tactics. 3 things are now hitting this knight. You win it back. It's not something I would see in most games. Alright. Still at like bishop h4 for a lot of reasons. Same ideas. If he does take here. Ooh, I didn't even think about that. This, check. That's where I stopped the analysis. But what's he do? Where's he go? You know, he goes back somewhere. That's not good. You can't really defend it. That's why it's recommending this move. And then same idea. You can take. Let me see if I can even remember it. Probably just bishop takes knight. No? Hitting this? Oh, this is just nuts. What's happening? It's not as good as it looked. Oof. Okay. Yeah, I didn't like that knight move either. I eventually do play it. Sometimes this happens in analysis where I eventually play the move that I'm like thinking about it. I should have just played it sooner. That bishop, or that rook, that was my blunder. Because of everything. When I said that the bishop, or the queen was covering the knight after this, takes, that's why the rook here. Queen, Oh, it's even better. It's also trapped. So it works here. He takes the queen. Now I take the pawn. Let's say he does this. Takes, and then you win this. He has two rooks that are uncoordinated. A bishop that's soon to be blocked off from his king. Way better for black. Or white. That's why. Wrong rook. Sometimes it looks weird getting this other one in here, but it makes a lot of sense. And that's why the queen came off the back line. To connect those, okay, so it still works, and then he does this. This just loses a rook. Doesn't make any sense. Okay, win this. Pawn move it does like. Pawn move it does like. Okay, I could have come here instead. Yeah, this looks okay. Really, it's just revolving around the same idea. I thought about this bishop move. The bishop is defended. I don't have to move it, but if I can trade things, great. Oh, and I can win this pawn right away. I thought I had to stay here, but yeah, that works too. Takes. Oh, the knight? Now it's saying pawn. There's a lot of things you can do. I think it's just you're winning. Whatever, it doesn't matter what I do. I do want to see if there was ever any... Because I already had my blunder, I'm sure I was fine. Yeah, I lose a couple points here. Not the best defense. And then he has nothing. Just take it. Oh, this works too. I was thinking this in the game. Oh. What? Don't I just drop the rook? Oh, but I win this. I got two bishops. Woo! Got room to spare. Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point. There's multiple ways to win. If he does this, this was the final tactic that could just win peace. If I come here, he slides up. He has to defend mate. And then it doesn't matter. I think I'm going here. Mate. Woo! That was a fun one. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. So far, 5 for 5. Doesn't always happen this way.